大家好，欢迎来到我们的深刻美国节目。随着2024年大选的临近，美国政治舞台正酝酿着一场混乱与争议的战斗。前总统特朗普已明言，若选举结果不如预期，他将不会坐视不理。这次的破坏选举过程的计划比2020年更加有组织，从法庭到基层运动无所不包。特朗普及其盟友不断酝酿对投票过程的怀疑，并利用局部事件来制造恐慌，推动不实指控的叙事。法律战场同样紧张，随着共和党在关键摇摆州提起一系列诉讼，这些诉讼的目的在于创造一个不信任选举的假象。选举日即将到来，预测混乱的可能性再度上升，加上地方选举官员面临巨大的压力，可能会影响选举结果的认证过程。同时，参议院的竞争同样激烈，随着多位现任参议员的退休，权力平衡面临重大挑战。候选人们为了争取可能决定未来的选票而展开激烈的竞争，选民的多样性和投票趋势将成为影响结果的关键因素。而在总统选举方面，特朗普和副总统哈里斯的对决充满了戏剧性，双方的支持者都在为即将到来的投票做好准备。这场选举不仅仅是权力的较量，更是美国社会深刻分歧的缩影。请大家继续收看详细内容。
As the 2024 election looms on the horizon, the specter of chaos and contention hangs heavily over the American political landscape. Donald Trump, the former president, has made it abundantly clear that he intends to contest the election results should he find himself on the losing end. This time, however, experts warn that the efforts to undermine the electoral process are far more organized than they were in 2020, with a concerted strategy that stretches from the courts to grassroots movements. This insightful analysis was originally reported by The Guardian. In the months leading up to the election, Trump and his allies have been busy sowing seeds of doubt about the integrity of the voting process. They have latched onto isolated incidents, such as an investigation in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, where officials are scrutinizing a batch of 2,500 voter registration applications for potential fraud. While the district attorney has confirmed that some fraudulent applications were found, the extent and nature of the fraud remain unclear. Trump, however, has seized upon this limited information, claiming at a rally in Allentown that they've already started cheating 2,600 votes, suggesting that every vote was written by the same person. This kind of rhetoric is not new. It echoes the unfounded claims made during the previous election cycle. At the national level, the narrative has shifted to a more insidious theme: the idea that non-citizens are voting in significant numbers and could sway the election. This claim has been amplified by high-profile figures, including Elon Musk, a prominent ally of Trump. Despite numerous studies indicating that non-citizen voting is exceedingly rare, the Republican Party has embraced this narrative, framing it within a broader context of nativist and anti-immigrant sentiment. The legal landscape is equally fraught. In recent months, the Republican National Committee and various GOP-aligned groups have filed a slew of lawsuits in key swing states, alleging that these states are failing to adequately monitor their voter rolls for ineligible voters. These lawsuits have made sensational claims, such as asserting that some states have more registered voters than eligible citizens. Many of these cases have already been dismissed, but experts believe that the true aim of these lawsuits is to create a false narrative that undermines public confidence in the electoral process. Ben Barrack, a lawyer with the watchdog group Protect Democracy, has characterized these lawsuits as zombie lawsuits, cases that, despite being dismissed, could be resurrected by Trump and his allies to bolster their claims of electoral fraud. Sean Morales Doyle, director of the Voting Rights Program at the Brennan Center for Justice, echoes this sentiment, suggesting that the lawsuits serve to lend a veneer of legal authority to baseless claims. As Election Day approaches, the potential for chaos looms large. Just as in 2020, it is unlikely that the nation will know the winner of the election on election night. In swing states like Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, laws prohibit election officials from counting mail-in ballots until Election Day, meaning that the counting process could extend well beyond the close of polls. Trump has already indicated that he plans to declare the election rigged if the vote count does not favor him, using the slow tallying of votes as evidence of fraud. Moreover, if Trump loses, there will likely be intense pressure on local election officials not to certify the results. Certification is a crucial bureaucratic process that officially validates the vote tallies at both local and state levels. Historically, this process has been viewed as a mandatory responsibility, but the events of 2020 have changed the landscape. Trump and his allies targeted Republican officials at various levels, attempting to persuade them not to certify the results. While these efforts ultimately failed in 2020, the Republican Party has spent the intervening years strategically placing individuals in positions of power who may be more amenable to such pressure. A report by Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington highlights that at least 35 officials who have refused to certify elections since 2020 will play a role in certifying the vote this fall. This raises significant concerns about the integrity of the certification process and the potential for further attempts to undermine the election results. As the election draws near, voting rights advocates are preparing for a legal battle to ensure that local officials fulfill their certification duties. They argue that the law is unequivocally on their side, and they are ready to take action if necessary. The stakes have never been higher, and the fight for democracy is far from over. In this tumultuous environment, the American public is left grappling with the implications of a political landscape that seems increasingly polarized and chaotic. The 2024 election is shaping up to be a pivotal moment in the nation's history, one that will test the resilience of its democratic institutions and the commitment of its citizens to uphold the principles of fair and free elections. Meanwhile, the Senate races leading up to the election are drawing attention for their potential to shift the balance of power in Congress. As NPR reports, the current Senate composition stands at a narrow Democratic majority of 51 to 49, but with key retirements and a challenging electoral map, the balance of power is teetering on the edge. One of the most significant shifts is anticipated in West Virginia, where the impending retirement of Senator Joe Manchin, who recently registered as an independent, is expected to flip the seat to Republican control. This change sets the stage for a series of high-stakes races across the country, each with its own unique dynamics and implications. In Arizona, the spotlight shines on Democratic Congressman Ruben Gallego, who has consistently outperformed Republican Kari Lake in recent polls. Gallego's appeal among Latino voters, a demographic that is rapidly growing in influence, has been a game-changer in this race. Political experts emphasize the significance of this shift, noting that Latino voters could comprise as much as 25% of the state's electorate. In Nevada, the race has taken an unexpected turn as incumbent Democratic Senator Jackie Rosen appeared to have a secure lead early on. However, a late surge from Republican challenger Sam Brown, an Army combat veteran, has injected new life into the GOP's campaign. The Senate Leadership Fund's last-minute investment of over $6 million in advertising has added to the drama, with political analysts acknowledging the potential for an upset. The race in Michigan is shaping up to be a nail-biter, with Republican Mike Rogers and Democrat Alyssa Slotkin locked in a dead heat. The contest is particularly significant as it seeks to fill the seat of retiring Senator Debbie Stabenow, and both candidates are keenly aware of the stakes involved. In Montana, incumbent Democratic Senator Jon Tester faces a formidable challenge from Republican Tim Sheehy. Tester, who has held his seat since 2006, has relied on his strong personal brand as a farmer and bipartisan advocate. However, Sheehy's endorsement from former President Trump and his outsider status present a unique challenge. Ohio's Senate race is one of the most closely watched contests, with incumbent Democrat Sherrod Brown facing Republican Bernie Moreno in a tight race. Both parties have poured substantial resources into the state, recognizing its pivotal role in determining Senate control. As the election approaches, the dynamics of these races will continue to evolve, with each candidate vying for the support of an increasingly diverse electorate. The outcome of these contests will not only shape the future of the Senate, but also reflect the changing political landscape across the nation. Amidst this backdrop, the presidential race between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump is shaping up to be a historic showdown. As the South China Morning Post reports, the nation is nearly deadlocked, with Trump aiming for a sensational return to the White House and Harris striving to become America's first woman president. The election is poised to be decided across 7 pivotal states, with both candidates making strategic final pushes to mobilize their supporters. In this high-stakes environment, the American public is navigating through a landscape fraught with division, anticipation, and the potential for significant political change. The 2024 election, with its complex narratives and unfolding drama, stands as a testament to the enduring struggle for progress and the quest for a more inclusive future.
欢迎大家进入6度探索的辩论环节。我们从正反两个角度对本节目进行辩论，请出我们的辩论高手楚天舒、谢琪琪。
我是楚天舒。
我是谢琪琪。
The 2024 election is shaping up to be a battle not just at the polls but also in the courts. Trump and the GOP's organized efforts to challenge election results are a strategic maneuver to create doubt and chaos. Historically, this tactic is reminiscent of the 1876 election, where disputes over electoral votes led to a national crisis. By sowing seeds of mistrust, they are undermining the very foundation of democracy.
Oh, come on, Chu. You're acting like Trump's the first politician to ever question election results. Remember 2000? Gore and Bush had their own legal showdown in Florida. It's politics, not a Broadway show. Everyone wants to ensure the game is fair. If a few lawsuits make people double-check the voter rolls, maybe that's not such a bad thing. At least we know they're paying attention.
But this goes beyond ensuring fairness, Kikai. The Republicans are filing lawsuits that have been dubbed zombie lawsuits because they just won't die, despite lacking evidence. It's like claiming you have Dracula on your side when all you have is a pile of garlic. These lawsuits are designed more to inflame than to inform, eroding trust in the electoral process itself.
Zombie lawsuits? More like Frankenstein's monster, created by the system itself. People are calling attention to potential issues, and if there's no fire, then they'll lose in court. Simple as that. Countless studies have shown that non-citizen voting is rare, but if people are worried, why not let the courts clear it up? It's like a never-ending episode of Law and Order, Election Edition. Everyone loves drama.
The real drama, Kikai, is the potential for chaos if results aren't certified. Imagine a game where the referee refuses to call the final score because their favorite team didn't win. That's what Trump and his allies are gunning for. In 2020, attempts to persuade officials not to certify results were a dress rehearsal. This time, they're putting more sympathetic officials in place. It's a coup in slow motion, hoping no one notices until the credits roll.
And yet, democracy's always been about debate and dissent. If you can't handle a little noise, you shouldn't be in politics. Look at it this way. Every time this happens, it forces us to refine the system, just like a good software update. Maybe we'll come out of this with a more transparent process. Instead of a coup, think of it as democracy's awkward teenage phase, with election braces and everything.
我是评委何理，我想对两位精彩的辩论做出评论。楚天舒与谢琪琪的辩论充满火花，两位辩手都以各自的观点深入探讨当前美国选举的复杂性。楚天舒的论点强调了特朗普及其共和党在选举过程中利用法律手段挑战结果的潜在危害，认为这一行为对民主制度构成了威胁。他以历史未见，指出类似的策略在1876年选举中导致了国家危机，这样的比喻强而有力，让人不禁对当前的局势感到担忧。另一方面，谢琪琪则用一种较为轻松且富有幽默感的方式来防卫这种行为，认为质疑选举结果是一种政治常态，并且在某种程度上可以促进选举的透明度。他用法律剧的比喻来形容当前的情况，认为这种过程有助于磨练和改进选举系统。然而，楚天舒的论点更具说服力，因为他不仅强调了现行做法的潜在后果，还指出了这些僵尸起诉所带来的社会信任的侵蚀。即便谢琪琪试图为这些法律行动辩护，指出其有助于检查选民名单，但若这些行动的基础缺乏可信的证据，那么他们所产生的疑虑无疑会加深选民之间的不信任。在整个辩论中，谢琪琪的比喻虽然生动，但他对于民主的理解似乎过于简化，忽略了选举结果的稳定性和合法性对于整体民主体系的重要性。楚天舒所提出的慢动作的政变一说，让人不禁思考未来选举的安全性及其对民主的影响。总结而言，楚天舒的观点更能够引起公众的警惕，彰显了当前政治环境中可能出现的危险，而谢琪琪虽然提供了另一种视角，但未能有效回应楚天舒对于民主基础的质疑。两位辩手的言辞都值得赞赏，但在这场关乎民主未来的论辩中，楚天舒的理论更具深度和现实意义。我非常期待未来更多此类的深入讨论，以促进对民主制度的理解与反思。
思想先驱报，成为有洞察力的人。华尔街电视特别节目，纽约时间每天早上8点，李奇博士主持，和平评点。谢谢大家收看6度探索。这是一个由科学家、经济学家、媒体人、工程技术人员合作建立的新型媒体，网友与6度 AI 参与合作完成各种内容，这些内容不能作为任何决策或法律的意见。这是一个新型的试验性媒体方式，我们希望得到大家的支持，修正错误。网友可以参与讨论，也可以向万能的6博士提出你能想出的任何问题。6度世界网址是6度 World， 请介绍给你的亲朋好友。